Good morning. Or whatever it is, wherever you are. Let's see, so is this still running my little constant test search? Yes, it is. It's just like impossible to see that at the distance where you'd want to see it, which would be here, really, if you're really scanning for something. So what we figured out last time is that we're currently filtering stuff by size, and I'm going to have somewhere a separate version of that is not filtering by size. We need to draw it in a different layer because we need a presentation more like the life search. And the too small filtering is going to be a problem. And perhaps we could replace that with a thing that's checking for matching items. And I've forgotten a bit about exactly what objects these were. So we build this up. So is that the base map? It's a layer group. Certainly doing some tile updates. Picking base layers. Which that might be coming from the world. Unremove, target world, biome layer, object layer, key placement layer. Where do we make worlds? There'd be a command that gives us world stuff. And we pick the base layer from that, update worlds. Generation, biome layer, biome layer. Okay, so I guess, and then update worlds, then create world layers. Biome layer. And overall our spans, which is really what we're searching. Unless we're doing auto-generated object layers. Yeah. So right now we're only dealing with the limited problem of key placement. It's coming from create art key placement, which is a key placement sprite. Which is key placement key, which is tile key, which itself uses a key placement cache, which is an index tile data cache. Right, so we have the index files that tell us what raw data files exist. We have the data files themselves. Right, which were both file caches of a sort. So there's going to be file patterns that tell us how to get those individual types of files. This uses the index to know which ones to look up. So tile key is what's going to deal with the actual object data. You use this as your data source. Tile index cache is tile data cache with a different transform on it. Tile data cache is the baseline code used by all of that. And you're not doing anything I think we have to be concerned about. Index tile data cache is base class by itself. So we look it up in the index. And have the data cache load the individual tile if it's to be found. So all of that deals with raw data. So probably they can both reuse this thing. And then they'll be able to share all of the in-memory data for that. And then this is where we need to have at least an option for the object filter function. And maybe the coordinates we request will be somehow different based on what we requested. The problem is when we do zoom in on this, we're going to get smaller tiles. Although, if this is just a squares layer, we can just tell Leaflet to just make that bigger, which is essentially what we do with the biome layers. We do it to 1 pixel resolution and then just have it zoom up. And this is, let's see. Yeah, this is where we're already doing the too small stuff. So that's where we need to be having some sort of filter function. Okay. But until I have a separate layer for this, I'm not going to be in a really good position to evaluate the function of that. So I might want to do a layer that like draws the dots. And we'll just have to deal with the fact that it can only see things at a certain scale. Also, I think I did commit this. So at some point, we're going to want to go back and clean this stuff up. Oh yeah, and we're passing a little bit through here too. And welcome back, Rainy. I hope you are having a lovely day. All right, so if we do a thing that's going to do that drawing, it's going to look a lot like a point layer. Pane. Oof. Yeah, I know you were concerned about your start time today. You didn't need anything extra going on there. I don't know. I guess that might have been a little bit late for me too, but later than I'm trying to do. So a little slow up, although, let's see. This is, I did most of the understanding last week, so this is making sense. I might have to copy this. I don't know if I can do a generic point layer here. And one of my tooth spots was a little sore last night, so thankfully things seems to have continued through the morning. Great tile. I mean, that's probably going to be all the same. Ouch. Well, there's a lesson learned, I guess. The cat's asleep, you better sleep too. Now, do I have a separate point layer for anim, or do I just give it different parameters? It is two separate layers. Maybe that one has time undefined and that one has time defined. Point overlay for search. Okay, so it is the same thing. It's going to be like, this is going to be very nearly the same thing. But this has a whole bunch of life-specific stuff in it. So I think I might have to copy it and then maybe see if there's some room to abstract some stuff. Which, I should probably start renaming stuff. That's another one. We have anything point overlay we're worried about? Okay, it's not used here. Class-wise, it's probably fine. Although these might have just been things I used to identify them in the debugger. Okay, so we still got the name there. Okay, no errors there. That still seems fine. Okay, so there's the colors, there's the life points. Which we're doing some of the setup of those layers there. Special placements, which were kind of objects. Base layers. Like this is going to be closely related in drawing technique. This is all the rest of the life point stuff. Let's see. So this is a object point overlay. It might need theme. I'm not going to have different locations. We're currently have multiple schemes. I might come back and do that. Canvas, get tile, width, height, draw tile. We're not going to set time. We could maybe leave some hooks in there. The format of data might change. So that was that color. Now I was doing kind of like an object coloring thing with the other stuff I was doing, which was that's right. It doesn't like to open the same window again. What do I call it? Object layer? Object layer pixel. We're using pixel-like techniques on top of object layer sprite. And I guess there are multiple things that are using object layer sprite. Oh, maybe that doesn't do the placements. Key placement sprite. And that was we're using something itself, wasn't it? Is that a sprite layer thing? That's that stuff. Doesn't have the containing function. We have highlight objects. Oh, there it is. So that was our color function. Oh, so we're not going to have like variable color. We're not going to have variable location. I don't know if I'm doing fading. Options.data. I still have to decide if that's how we want to do it. That's probably going to be time and radius. These things don't vary with time much. Radius is probably going to be constant. And this is where we start getting into don't know. And then there's what time is it at, which would only be an issue for animated things. That's only if time exists. These things don't have appearance and disappearance times, which might be awkward. But we've already kind of got the means to produce an image, so we're gonna have to do some of this stuff. It has to do with fade. Yeah, I'm just not gonna deal with you right now. Well, you've either got the static imagery or you're animating it, and so you're either showing everything or showing only the things that were traditionally the people that were alive, or the characters that were alive at that time. Gets a lot long, convert that. We're not going to have an age. We're not going to have... this is where we're going to do something like this. It's not variable. We are probably just going to do, I probably need to have a different shape for this. For now, we'll do dots, though. So that if you had them on at the same time for some reason, you would be able to tell them apart. And we're not doing anything special for eaves, because these are objects. Our update might be different. And let's see, select points. Yeah, I don't even think we're going to have this. Maybe I want to do something similar at some point, but not at this stage. The awkward thing about this is that I'm going to have to merge this with some of the stuff we have from tile layers. Offset. That's a global thing. Huh. Oh, that's so that I could offset object data from generated data in order to compare them. Super samples for image drawing. I don't think fade tall is going to be relevant. Min zoom and max zoom. Well, you're only going to have detail at that level. Actually, if point layers didn't have that, well, this is only going to be available. Native isn't going to be all that different. It isn't going to deal with any image stuff. It doesn't have to deal with loading images. Let's see. I don't think drawing points until you'll say with the cell size, that's where we're going to have to deal with, well, that's going to be that's basically going to be data for this. Just highlighted objects. And then this is all going to be set up different. All right, so I guess that'd essentially be key place, and then maybe I was setting that up differently, and like sort of reproducing that process is where it could get awkward. Or is that like the data? Yeah, because we've got our raw data, and then we've got what we are highlighting right now. And you never even checked for if we have anything. So all our transformations, and then data for each. Right. The highlight was across everything. The key place is tile-specific data. So image, we're not looking at the image. I think we're just doing tiles at this, not object locations. We're not doing fades. And this is a whole different scaling thing. So this thing that I borrowed that from was not dealing with how we constructed those. I wonder if it's possible. Yeah, create tile. Well, you're using a different cache thing, but that's something I passed to you, right? I wonder if it's possible to reuse some of this stuff. You're doing a too small check as well. So we've got object layer sprite. We've got, okay, so that was for pure natural objects, which might be a thing. Yeah, and this is where the inheritance thing is going to bite us a little bit. Because I think that these like calculation functions might be semi-shareable. Oh, the width and the height. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit different. So I might have to try and extract just the, and this is actually drawing. Maybe those won't be quite shareable. I might need to do some, okay, so maybe it's tile at that type of things. That's specifically for the timed ones. So object layer is creating the data, and perhaps that can be extracted somewhere. Because to get data for this, I need to have I need to figure out all that, how I get all that data fetching and stuff into here. So this was natural object generation only. Key placement is the minimum we're working with. So you've got object generation options. Layer.cache.get tile. Actually, that's not too bad. That's deferring everything to the cache, which is the hard work. Now, is this create tile? That's draw tile, and then create tile. Okay, so this is for the point, which didn't do as much stuff because it has to do data acquisition. So natural objects is not an issue. We are going to need object generation options, looks like, though. All right. Create you don't have an initialize. You are going into cache. And create tile is going to become an asynchronous thing. So let's see, does create tile totally swap over here? Well, it's going to be different. Like, it's going to be probably this height and width. Oop. That's not the one. That's not what I wanted. So I pulled out layer as this for use in that stuff. We did tile and tile size. We pulled out options. Width and height. We're not dealing with super scale. And then that just drew it. So we do this. We don't even have that option. It should kind of null out, I think. Well, maybe data time we have to set. Well, yeah, because that's actually the data we're fetching. Tile.keyPlace equals keyPlace. We're not doing load images. Right. So what were you? What was this? Oh, layer.load images with a callback function, which called done. Yeah, I guess this might be a little bit left over. And then actually this does end up looking a lot more like the other. Well, we load and then we draw instead of just drawing. Oh, is crit tile just other than the done? It has the same signature. I'm going to have to do some stuff to get data time in here. All right, so that much takes care of getting key place data. So that's sort of reusable. And it's got its own draw tile. That's a different signature. All right, so we borrowed that from sprite layer. Load images, draw tile, tile chords done. Nope, that's not it. Maybe you use that. Key placement sprite. Create tile, done. Tile chords, done. You don't have a draw tile. Update tiles. Where's... Wouldn't sprite layer have the draw tile? Oh, you're an instance thereof. You need you. Load images. Draw tile. Tile chords. Done. Okay, so we've got a signature problem here. Point overlay. Actually, life point overlay. You're only tile chords, not passing that. And then update tiles would additionally pass the time. And was that only in Anna? No, it's life point overlay. We've got two competing things here. Well, that would be essentially undefined there on the initial draw. All right, up, and then sprite layer. Actually, I probably copied. No, that was a time function. Draw tile. I may have copied this somewhere already. No. So key place for each. Huh. Do you have tile as a thing? Oh, tile was an argument. Although this does an early return, so that has to be taken care of. Otherwise, just return. Actually, I guess I could do that. Now you see, this has time as an argument. This has time in options. So we've kind of got two different paradigms there. Well, yes, because this is just the draw. For here, we were presuming that the key place had already been set by setting up time. So I think you're going to set up time, and you're going to call this to actually do it, which makes this actually not that. It's gonna look more like drawing that because when we animate, we're gonna have to set up the data before we call the draw, instead of drawing things in a time dependent way like we can do with the points. All right, so we are just, yes, like point birth x, birth y. This is just a key place for each. What are you looking like? Placement.x, placement.y. How was I doing that? Point, that's something different. Placement.id. All right. So this is something I should be able to throw at the existing data and get a bunch of points. And then we can deal with how do we actually filter out the stuff we want. Okay, so we've got also a mishmash of point overlay and object overlay. So we've got construction of point overlays. Now we only had one of those. We swapped out the data. For tiles, I think we created them per world because of object generation and options and things. Which could be a little bit annoying to be having to create a whole extra layer for only if you're searching in every world. How much do we set up for that? Update worlds. We've got all the generation stuff, which maybe we could swap that around, but right now it's kind of we grab all the stuff from the world. So we've got our key placement layer. Layer group with base attribution. Okay, yes, all the stuff that goes into the map. Yeah, the data time for all of them is going to be different. And I'd have to think about if that's something you could swap out easily. Okay, so there's our cache. We create that with that cache, and then this thing, once we make it parameterizable, will should be useful. Okay, placement layer. Oh. spans had specific layers for everything. This might not work out well. And then we have to know where we used this stuff. Set options. Okay, so you get your two alternates, which we're not flip-flopping that right now. Object layer options. What are we setting? Well, there's highlight objects, which actually doesn't necessarily need to go to those anymore. All right, so this is not currently supported on animated. Not enough letters there. And then we're back to generation. All right, now, sprite layer had our prototype set up, which we should no longer need. Is it sprite layer? You're a kind of sprite layer. Highlight objects. That's object point overlay. Good. That's where we want it. You're seeing the options. That is sprite layer, which we should not need that. This is going to start out so broken, I'm sure. Yep. Create arc object point overlay. Maybe I called it layer. Yeah, probably. Although it is an overlay. Done is not a function. I can only guess where that is. Create tile. Does create tile not get called with done? I think that's a system thing, isn't it? But that's checking for it before it calls it. If done. So I'm passing something else to it is what's happening there. Maybe we're still passing time from something. Yep. So something is calling. Oh, did I include update tiles in? Object point overlay. Okay, so we have to do a different update function. So I just like go through all tiles and call this if they have it. If layer update tiles. So it doesn't really support this yet. Okay, so now that's a function. So we have created it and we've drawn it. And we've got some dummy data in there, but we have either not added it or it's not being drawn right. Okay, control of pane. It should have been an overlay pane. Tile container, tile container. It's the individual tiles. Where did I put my little custom classes for the things that I actually understand? Leaflet map tile. Leaflet layer. I thought that was why I put classes on things, so that it would actually show up. Or maybe, is that someplace else that it shows up, and then the tiles end up someplace else? Okay, left and right. Yeah, it's controls. Leaflet container. Leaflet map pane. Actually, this should be overlay pane, shouldn't it? Oh, yeah, shadow pane, overlay pane. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Marker pane. There's a couple of markers there. I don't think it's marker pane. So we do have an empty overlay set up. I'm wondering where'd my classes go? Or maybe I never assigned a class to you. No, because where I do this, we do name. Okay, so where we created it, we were doing these. And these aren't necessarily interactive because we're not clicking on them. So object point overlay. Well, actually, are these all the same? Because that was creating two different ones. For the time being, we're not creating two different ones. Leaflet container map pane, overlay pane, object point overlay, tile container. Okay, it's there. Height and width look okay. Am I actually even doing anything with highlight here? I think we were just might be just kind of drawing everything right now. This will be spammy as all heck, which I can control somewhat by zooming in. The tiles only get so big. Well, I guess it tries to maintain constant tile size. There won't be as much data. Oh yeah, we don't even draw. Okay, so we create these tiles, right? I mean, I'm not giving it the right data to do a fetch. Okay, we got 59 objects, X, Y, ID. And we do have timestamps. So we set key place to something, but it's not here when we get to this. Oh, are we even calling draw? Oh, maybe we have to return tile if that didn't. Maybe something else is drawing? And where was yeah, there's one instance. Okay, it does get drawn. Now I don't know. Is that happening after this? Oh. I deleted whatever was doing, that was a time end. Or not loading images. But we did seem to be getting those one-to-one. So like, if I don't do that, yeah, we're never gonna draw. Oh, because I'm never doing the initial update to create a key place. And that might go back to, no. Cache.get tile. Well, maybe I've got a bad, maybe I'm not setting up my server and stuff. So we've got data chords, we've got data time. We've got map server, which should be general. All right, data tile, X, Y, Z. We've got a time, we've got a server. And, no, and we got data. Oh, I was looking at options.keyplace because I was doing this. It's like, oh yeah, options.data, uh-huh. Okay, we received a draw. We're not actually seeing a dot on here. We got arguments. We want to make sure we're not hitting that. Okay, but we're not seeing anything there. Was I doing the wrong tile dot? Oh, no, layer is this, not. Have I even pulled out tile yet? The tile is an argument here. Because that is per tile data. Oh, and there's all the individual objects. So we're actually iterating the loop now, but not drawing anything. Why are we not drawing anything? Are we attempting to draw something? I would say that no, we are not attempting to draw something. All right, negative. Okay, so we've got some partials. Wonderful. Okay, I need to do some coordinate offsets here somewhere. And wasn't there something about that? There was like some sort of OXOY when we were doing maybe the tile cache is doing the supposed to be doing the in band filtering for me. Options.offset, that was a drawing offset. Yeah, what's OXOY? That's for object bounds. So this must be the tile cache is supposed to be giving me relative coordinates? Whereas the old life point layer just had all the points. So we actually don't need to do that. I think. Of course, no, it's not P. Oh, I do have to do some translation, don't I? I don't know if I've like transformed all of these coordinates appropriately, because you're only doing that long. Yeah, I have got two very different rendering methods here. Yep, so we never hit this before. Am I even referencing this? No. One was transforming global coordinates. No. Where are you? Console.log p. actually do see something there, though. Something hideously inefficient. Because we're still, right now, we're doing it for everything. And circles are probably a much less efficient way than, because we're doing it for everything, not for targeted points. And we're console printing, so it's really killing us. So this was set up to take a global coordinate, transform it, and put it within the canvas. And then we have scaling problems as we zoom in. It almost sort of worked where it was 1-to-1, which actually tells a little bit about the nature of the problem. But this is still size filtered, which is why it works better at distance. We take a drawing method that was designed to take data in global coordinates and translate it. And then we put it together with a data method that was built around giving me coordinates within the tile. And I think what we saw, it was like tile coordinates within the tile. So we can probably, might still be able to use some of that stuff to kind of figure out spacing. Well, what I did with that was I rescaled the canvas so that was 1-to-1. Which goes back a little bit to create tile, I think. Key placement. No. Object layer pixel, object layer sprite is not a sprite layer per se. Height and width of that. Tile size, superscale. Start X. Okay, so that was for generating new objects. Set attribute. Tile size is get layer, get tile size, which, yeah. So that's fine. So it's actually, maybe this does come down to draw tile. And how we, are you still, no. Sprite layer, you've got the draw tile, right? Get context, clear rect, scale to cell size. But if I do that when drawing more abstract things, like the points, which are kind of meant to be mostly scale independent. Or maybe I'll have to make them like diamonds or something so they stick out. I'd then have to like counter transform the object size. So that might just be a transform the coordinates by, let's see, cell size is a thing that I calculated, which is going to be our scaling factor for points in here. Create tile, draw tile. That just needs the coords, and we don't need a super sample. Tile size, cell size. Do I deal with this where I don't? Because I mean, I think super sample, I don't know if I forget if it was like 0 or 1. I mean, I guess 0 makes sense there, but we calculate this minus data zoom, minus 24. Okay, well that is probably the code I just wrote. Yeah, those are the only places I deal with it. Hopefully data zoom isn't an issue here. What are you? Well, you're the tile data cache yourself, which R is dealing with that, so hopefully this is accurate. So I think to offset this, and I might have to do the 0.5 here times as well. And maybe it would be easier to scale size than to scale all the coordinates. We still have the too much data problem, but we're getting accurate coordinates. Okay, yes, and now you can see that it is in fact on the corner and not on the center. Now, if I use the object bound information, I suppose I could point at the actual thing, but this is probably more like we highlight the square or something, since we're trying to find the particular thing. So let's see, what are our arguments? I'm not actually using R here. I think this is 0 to all the way around, and fill mode. So do I scale the tile and adjust my size? Because that would be one bit of math, and actually I could make this a constant size for the entire tile. Let's transform tile. Bah. Scale, translate. Oh, and this is where we get into save, restore stuff. And I think we can finally say that we're not doing this. And hey, look, we've already got an R variable, which doesn't not need to vary with this. We don't need you. Oh, did I? Is this the right draw tile? Object point overlay, yes. I don't think we need origin. I need a bigger window. Object point overlay. Let's see. Padding. That was used for the inbounds detection, which that could actually be an no, because the tiles already include overdraw. And then at the bottom of the loop, we do context restore. And then R, as a result of that, becomes, let's see, it was 3. Was it 3 divided by cell size? Okay. You know, I just considered that I have the object layer pixel. Well, that did an XY loop because it was doing every little spot. I guess I could have done the overlay effect with that, but I would have had to swap out the what is here. And in fact, I guess I just made sure that 0 was 0. Or maybe it was alpha or something. Because we evaluated every spot. Well, but that's gonna, as we zoom out, that will continue to draw it as 1 pixel. That's not what we need right now. We need something we can see at distance. All right, so that was still a step. So as we zoom out, actually, no, this is getting zoom 24 data, so it's not doing. Yeah, it's doing size filtering. There's just a lot visible at this level. And I guess to tell that that much is working, we really do want to kind of be out at that level. All right. So that is the drawing problem. I think I cleaned up that stuff. Might not hurt to check the other temporary things I've done. I might need to review how we're integrating all this stuff. It seems like we're creating search layers when I'm not going to use them all the time. So this one, we added highlight objects, we added this stuff. We removed a commented line, which should be fine. Fixed that, transfer options through. And I might, at some point, need to do. Well, yeah, I guess I don't have search as a separate thing here. It's whenever the search panel's open. All right, so we've been using the same key place cache, which is great because it's using the same storage. Key placement key. So do I have to pass that? It's like where do we cache and what do we cache? Get tile, cache load tile, and then process. Return key place. I think the processing gets redone every time, which is a thing I'm going to have to measure sometime. But that means that either somewhere in here, no, that's tile log. Which generation it kind of ends up being the options of the thing. So you've got a base cache and you've got a get tile function that does all of this stuff. So I don't think you are yourself a cache. Which means I could have an alternate version of you that would just be doing this. Well, this is a very complicated function. But I can initialize you with an option for what filter function to use. Or I set it up as either an option here that gets passed through, or is it a separate object? Well, the cache with too small. Is that determines somewhere on min size, which was nice to have here. So it's not that ID less than min size. Well, it could be a function as long as everything that was calling this was determining its own min size. Dynamically from the coordinates. And then essentially passing in a closure on that. And let's see, object too small is based on object size of an ID, which object size, I think, is essentially global data, which it is. Yeah. That's for natural generation, which is a thing we may have to look at some point. Okay, we're searching for something else. I think placement larger than that is for the animated layer, which is another thing we have to look at. Object layer sprite. All right, so I think get tile is a thing. It's used a bit in some of the. All these little caches have this. No, they don't. They have a log. Well, yeah, you're a little bit different. Very similar interfaces. So I could have that just be a generation option. Generation tile size. Generation data time. Show natural objects above zoom. It's actually similar to how we've been passing around to highlight objects. But I don't necessarily want to do that on all layers. Oh. This layer might need to... Or you use that to control when you want those. So maybe that still makes sense. Generation, data time. Am I someplace else? That's still tile key. Oh, that's special. All right, tile log. Oh. Does tile key get used by something else? Some other meta. Yeah, it gets used by maplog log to get base tiles. Well, whatever that had for a filter function, it would pass down to there. Yeah, so key placement sprite, object point overlay, and maplog log are the clients of that. Right, and create arc, key placement layer, point overlay, maplog log. So key placement sprite would do size, you would do that, you would also do size, and then eventually maybe that would actually go back to the maplog sprite layer to do size. For now, we're gonna have to push it up. Oh, let's see. What do we call this? It's like an object filter. Is that a good name? All right, so that changes the signature. We should probably get something passed in there. So, keep placement sprite does get tile. Get tile size. Get tile. Well, I think I need to define this up ahead of time. All right, super scale. Oh, I wonder if min size had to consider. No, I don't think they'll consider that. And min size went to something like this. That depends on size. And either we have to pass the chords to recalculate the zoom, or we have to closure this. So this is going to be a positive filter. This is going to be not too small. It's going to be large enough. Which, I guess too small was how I thought of it, but really this could be size and size greater than mid-size. And then you can pass large enough. There was another version of this. Placement's larger than min size. But it's a function of a placement. But it does return a function. The only thing we're really adding is a placement is a dot ID. Oh, but it's not necessarily a placement. This is a get, for these it's a get map object raw. So it would have to do like objects larger than. And this is assuming min size is calculated already. Exact same thing. I wonder if that would be a useful thing to abstract. And I just translated that directly. Okay. So we do that. Let's see, that would be that wouldn't be too bad as an inline function. So it was nice to save the actual data pushes here, but maybe this would be better as a post process. Because then we wouldn't have to do a pass-through, and then the only cost is we'd have to do a whole lot more array pushes when we're zoomed out. So we've got an ID. We're filtering the placements by that thing. So we've got in frame and too small. And then we could just do a filter on the thing we've already got, which is actually going to make it look a little bit more like the real-time updates, or the map log updates. And then it also works a lot more similar when we do get to this. We don't have to necessarily update multiple clients for that. Although this has been depending on that, perhaps? Or maybe it's already doing it. That's object layer sprite. You're doing your own filter. I guess map log sprite is the question. It's got its own tile at. Yeah, you're already post filtering it. Yeah, so we just have to skip that optimization basically. And then it really is placement smaller then. We don't need a separate function even. All right, so you are, where are we? Object layer sprite. That's raw object generation. I'll have to consider what to do with you later. All right, so tile key, we don't take a function. We always push. Those are already placements. They're already formatted correctly. We're not going to have this, I don't think, unless we want to use it for some of the object generation stuff. This is still object layer sprite, which we're not dealing with right now. And that's the only things we have that still have that. We still have to calculate min size wherever we're doing this. So I think maplog already does it. So instead of there, I could actually then this. Do you do key place? You don't do key place anywhere else here. So that's one. And then object point overlay. That's something else. Create layer, key place. Oh, was this? Object point overlay. Oh, I was trying to put it in here. Okay, so actually you don't do this. I need to find, is that sprite layer? No, sprite layer doesn't set it. Key placement sprite. Right, so does the other one have min size set up? Let's create it. You do not have min size set up, but you don't want to do min size. You want to filter. Let's see. By the highlight objects we have not yet pulled out. Let's see. Options dot highlight objects. Well, what if that's not set? Right now, I'm not actually taking any pains to make sure that this exists, I don't think. Oh, I still gotta... I think I missed this when I was cleaning up. Oh, that's object point overlay. I do have this. Oh, but this was in draw. This is in create. And that might not exist. Well, we can make sure it exists. And if it, you know what, if it doesn't exist, this entire tile doesn't need to, kind of doesn't need to exist. Which was the data check on point layer. Or was that a draw check? Oh, that's checking key place, which if key place doesn't exist, if we skip this. You go straight to draw, and then draw skips if there's no data. We still have to return a tile, I think, though. Do we have to draw it? All right, return. I think highlight objects is just a list of IDs. I went ahead and removed the code that was actually checking this. And we want to keep them if they are not equal to -1. That seems less. Oh, and I did include both flint and flint piles, didn't I? And then data has to actually be in memory. It's a lot of flint. So yeah, so those all blend together at that size. I could do something that slightly adjusted size as you zoomed in. I also would like to do something to distinguish it from life points if for whatever reason you had them up at once. So right now we're doing arc. Now arcs do have to take coordinates. Let's see. And we have to ctx.rotate, or which is maybe a lot of stuff. Rotate. Actually, that was... It's a full rotation. I want 1/4 of a full rotation. And then we could just do a rect. I mean, alternately, I could do some sort of polyline of points. Okay, so actually I guess I need the canvas context. Canvas element, 2D context, transformation, scale, rotate, transform, composting method, paths, begin path. Or do I just have to do a bunch of points? That's paths, and there's probably some separate methods that are, yeah, rectangle. So either I have to do a bunch of transformation stuff in a rectangle, or a bunch of points. So if we do if we pick, say, a diamond is something we haven't done. Minus R. I don't know if winding order matters. And then plus R. Oh, no, that's move 2. We need line 2. And I think it auto closes. Yeah, and instead of you have the full fill of the circle, it could be a little bit larger for 1. Which will by itself help. It can get a little bit hard to find when you get down there. That would be some sort of function of, let's see, what would be cell size? Oh, I guess I just always hit the calculator. Okay, so right now we're doing okay, so it's already that kind of function, huh? Let's see, so cell size is actually cell size is already that. That's based on the zoom level. I think that's the number of pixels represented by an individual cell on screen. Okay, so that's 1. 4. Okay, so it's going to go up 4 every time. So tiles are always, let's see, but we've scaled. So that's why we have to keep making, we've scaled that to be our coordinate system, so we have to keep, so we are making these constantly smaller and smaller. And what was the result of this? Okay, so first of all, it's very large. Yeah, that's the result of that. So that is no scaling, which would just, it would just be 5. That's a y equals, I don't even see a line here. I know I probably didn't do a, this assumes that that's like, you better put this in. Nope. So that's linear. I guess we're making it smaller. So that is Yoop as it goes 4, 1, 4, 16. So we want a gentler version of this. So it starts at 5. Now I know one of the things there's a, what is it? There's that function. We're more interested in the effect on the small end, I think. At least by a little bit. That moves over the other end. I was kind of thinking it might be something like this. Okay. You can almost just do a square there. Then as we zoom in farther, well, that's as far as it goes, but it's... Maybe it could be a little bit smaller than that. Maybe with that scaling, let's see. That's 23. And I kind of like this for this scale. Oh, and here's some of the edge problems I was concerned about. Now so the tiles are supposed to include overdraw. But these smaller objects were specifically excluded from overdraw because it's like they're not that big. So we're just gonna have to live with that. So maybe like math dot. What is the effect of different powers? All right, so this is it -2? No, it's 0.5 is the square. So let's see, that would make it larger still at that. No, so more like 6 or something like that. Now shrink a little bit more. Does it not support this? Or maybe it supports it differently? Yeah, seems no. Maybe this does negatives. I'm not sure what number we're doing here, so... All right, so 10 to the 1 is 10. 10 to the 2 is 100. 10 to the 0.5... That seems to be having an effect. Now, maybe the effect is less visible because of our division. Oh, because I wrote square root. Just didn't even take an argument. Okay, a little bit bigger, not as dominating. All right, and I was console logging this stuff, which is going to slow us down a little bit. Now it's a user interface. And I'm probably going to play with layers and, oh, and by the way, animation, doing this in animated layers, which we're not currently toggling, even though I think that should have had a no anim flag on it. But I guess it wasn't defined as an alternate. Um, okay, map UI. Now we're back to, ooh, okay, that's just tiles. And then that's map log, which it really shouldn't be testing for those if they're not in the index. So what were we thinking for this? I can make it a kind of search. I could make it a totally different pop-up option. To consider like map options versus life data, because this is like all life data. This is all life data. This is all life data. And this has just been a kind of our junk drawer. So we can have a sub-menu in here for objects or characters. We could define an entirely separate menu for object stuff. Which, like this, could only be defined on servers where we have map data. Maybe there's something to that if we would have life data only on servers where we have life data, object stuff where only on servers where we have object stuff. I could maybe, yeah. And then, well, object search could eventually be available for naturally generated layers on things where we can naturally generate layers, and that would give it the same scope as fade tall objects and natural objects above zoom. I'll have to go find an icon for it. Then we'd have search. Well, it would really just be search. Eventually, you might want to move some of this stuff out. Or we duplicate it in several places. So this would be strictly for lives. Some of this is a little bit for both. Yeah, so this would become like life data. And I could boot icon update till later. I could probably consider it all one sidebar at some level, and we would just swap out the content. And we would have search and format only there. Now, I think this might be a leaflet button that I'm hooking up to some events. Now, do I even have the names available so far? I know I put some stuff in here to send. Highlight objects. This being a whole data thing. Objects. Yeah, so we decoded some of it. I might not have I turned it into anything useful in my model yet? Dict object ID to string. That's server level, so the servers have that. Yeah, if I'm trying to string match, I'm going to be going through that anyway. Since this could be a big thing, I'm wondering how far I want to get into it right now. I guess we can start. So is that a leaflet icon? Well, it's called data, so. And it's called filter. Filter is going to be a common thing. Time is going to be a common thing. anim toggle, control map button, sidebar toggle right now. Which is going to be two different things. And you have a change. You don't really have a change. I might want to do a thing where that turns into an X2. So this would be message sidebar toggle, which messages need to be updated to. Sidebar toggle add. So this is going to be like okay, so first of all, well, that would essentially be adding it twice. Title data, life data. We'll need an icon. Okay, so that's the traditional position. That's the new one. It just says filter. Oh, it's showing the... Sometimes I'm getting the icon. Which is unfortunate. Maybe I can do something about that. And this probably won't work because the message is undefined. I think message is going to be somewhat generic at the JavaScript end. Sidebar. Sidebar toggle. All right, so first we fix that. And then the main loop is what's going to deal with that. Okay, you go back to working, you do nothing. Unknown message. Object. Then our main loop is not going to recognize that. And this is going to look very, very similar. Although we're not really going to, I will be toggling this overlay at some point. Well, that'll be easy to go back later. So now I also need to update my model for sidebar open. Model, and I hate this is just a model module. I wonder if there's anything generic we can do here for like sidebar. Oh, what we should do here is there should only be one sidebar. each of them should track their tabs, probably. Mode, model, mode. That's going to become like life mode. I don't even want to deal with you right now. Map UI is going to be dealing with that. All right, so that's not there. I'm going to have to do something with the mode elsewhere. Select int, or select mode. I could have a singular mode that identified all of that stuff, but then what do these toggle buttons do? Okay, so I renamed something. Probably needs to be map UI as well. Okay, what module still has this? Oh, probably my model init. I still called that life sidebar open. I think that entire variable might need to get redone. Okay, so you're fine. I probably went ahead, changed you. No, did I change it in you? Where are you? Sidebar open, sidebar open. Life sidebar, okay, so we're still in mode? So that's view, we may have not hit yet. Can you reevaluate this, please? So that must have been, yeah, so that's just not even the right error. View dot select mode. Okay, so that was it was you. All right, so we've got the overall sidebar. What do we call this? A mode? Just sidebar? All right, so that's going to become sidebar open. No, because it's also going to be closed. Okay, so that was just a type. That's fine. That's closed. Do you have any other references? No. So there's map UI. Sidebar open. Select points is going to open live sidebar. They're going to be sidebar. Oh, that's going to get a little bit more complicated. If the sidebar is life sidebar, and life sidebar mode is life search, okay, and then well, yeah, we can't do this. This gets a lot more complicated. This was a toggle. We're going to have to say, if it's a closed sidebar, then it should become a life sidebar. If it was a life sidebar, it should be a closed sidebar, and an object sidebar, I could almost do a wildcard here, because if we're doing a bunch of sidebars, then clicking a mode for one should if he was object sidebar and it goes to life sidebar. So it should really be, if it's this one, close it. If it's not, open it. And I can't imagine that that would ever not be true, although you get the benefit of exhaustive search. If I add more sidebars, probably not going to add that many more. Yeah. All right, closed sidebar goes to... Okay, so you know I have to change this twice. Oh no, object sidebar goes... No, you go to closed. Life sidebar goes to object. And we lost command.none here. And I probably fell off of updating this stuff. Okay, so view. And that's all you have to do with that. Okay, it compiles. So you toggle. You don't really do anything. And we've just been calling this sidebar, so you need to be... That should compile. All right, so you're essentially going to have search and your own cosmetics. The only thing that I could put here would be a server selection, I think. But until I get a proper time bar, this is the only way to pick time periods. So I wouldn't even necessarily have a show button. It'd just be like, you can drag this around. Which would just kind of make that search data cosmetics. And actually, a lot of this would go away if I got a proper time bar. Let's see. Do I want... I'm wondering... Well, I've got my palette stuff here. Oop. Don't want to do that. No, we're undoing. I might be able to reuse bits of this. So the issue we had was... We've got live search, we've got data filter, we've got cosmetics, and all of those are going to be a little bit different. So it's going to be like life search, life data filter, life cosmetics, or I guess I should add maybe... Now the problem is I'm doing model bleh. So if I expose both of those with similar items, then they're going to conflict. Well, they'd conflict in their home namespace, if nothing else. So I'd actually have to have, like, a module for the model of each sidebar to contain its own thing, and then be a module name. But they probably should be separate things. It's just... Oop. They're going to be really, really similar. And what do we even call that if it's not the... that's just like the time and server selection. Almost like map selection? Which is kind of what the other one is too. And I called it cosmetics internally. But that's going to be like life formatting or life cosmetics and object cosmetics. Or would that be like map cosmetics? And this would be map search. All right, so first of all, we just renamed something. Huh, okay, so that only appeared here. And following that, we're going to have to do this. All right, so that's defined. Now we can potentially add that. Hopefully inspiration will strike me on what to name these things besides just mode. Right now it's not. No, it's defaulting to search, huh? I should probably actually... I'm usually searching to data. Although I think this would be to object search. Object sidebar toggle. So we already did the overall mode of that. We just can't display anything off of it yet. Yeah, so this is going to be different. And the tab header, I think that might be reusable. And these are the specific tabs for that. I'm torn as to whether to keep the top level sidebars together or to keep each one together with its bits. They're going to be comparable for now. Object sidebar. And life sidebar is there. I guess it becomes more of a case, doesn't it? All right, and it's exactly the same. Although it, right, because this is still reflecting life sidebar mode. So life sidebar, object sidebar. That says what to open, but the select mode and maybe there'd be some way to generalize that, but it wouldn't be too much tighter than. And maybe you can specify the array and have the rest of this sort of fill in. I could maybe slip in one of the last arguments here for if you pass that through. I don't know if data is the right thing. I need a better icon. Now, did I update this thing? Object. Say object mode, but tab header. Oh. Life mode, life mode. Select life mode. Well, that would be a shame to rewrite. So it means it needs yet another argument. Yet another argument. And I can't just do message containing the mode because I also need, I believe, if mode equals current. And it'd be kind of annoying to repeat myself up here to pass that in as a Boolean. Maybe I could do some curried version of this that had the message. This actually is a message. No, this is a function of message to a. No, it's a function of a to message and the mode type of some sort. Name tagger, I guess, is what those are sometimes called. And I don't have a message for this yet. Which is also going to cause trouble back here. Wait, no, object, sidebar mode. And that is search overlay. We're not going to deal, we're probably going to do something with that, but not yet. Okay, select last mode. Select object mode. And I have not updated all of the object mode select, object search, map selection. These are all going to look the same right now, but those have not yet defined them. All right, so these don't really hurt us right now. They're just not useful. The one that's interesting is going to be getting the actual object search tab. Maybe what I do for now is cut these down, because it's going to have to get into actually like doing an interesting search and display of the results. And I'm starting to think about wrapping up here. So life search, well, the messages it sends and things are going to be the interesting part. Okay, and yeah, and then search box has to get redefined and show results has to get redefined. We're probably going to have to specify those better. Show matching live, show matching life. We've got all that stuff. Show matching life detail. Our date formatting. Is that data filter? Well, I ended up calling this something different, right? Yeah. All right, so data action is going to be your button, right? Yeah. Date range select. Ooh. Are you data options? Yeah. Don't have you. Server select, and we're not going to have presets for this. Oop, wrong one. All right, date range select. Forgot to do this. All right, so you've got a cut down set of options, just enough to pick something you want to work with. And life, cosmetics. We just kind of defined everything in place, which I probably... There's going to be a couple of these that I think are going to end up shared. That's not. I could do that. I could do that. I'm not really doing anything animated yet. That, and then these are going to be like the map options. I guess I only need to extract the common ones. I did extract this. So we're going to do that again in anything we extract. Slider. Oh, right, because you're only in animated, which we don't support right now. So actually, that's something we need control color for. Well, yeah, so we're going to use that on here in life and in there and that, but it's only going to be a one-time thing. All right. So, point color, point location, that's fine. Toggle UTC. And so these are going to be arrays. I think I might want to do just, see, this is time zone control. Oop. Okay, so you could just be a, is it time dot zone? I don't think we're referencing anything common there, so we can just make this. Oh, time zone control of zone. And if I hadn't started pulling this out, well, can we do, let's see. Get a compile check. Element message, we seem to be mistyped somewhere. Oh, it's not a single thing, it is a double thing. That's the problem with doing wide mode. And it's, how about an argument? Okay. Then, let's see, you're gonna be kind of similar, but model.edit emitted, so you're just gonna be a bool. This is gonna be, oh, nope, not animated. Theme, model.theme, we just have a theme, right? Theme control. All right, so that's going to be some of the common ones. Let's see, so life, animated, monuments. Maybe I would actually move that over just because it's more map. And oh, I picked up too much stuff there, but it's something we wanted, so that's fine. And so that's for down animated. Yeah, I think that's right. Isn't called anywhere yet. Although we did remove some things from the other section. All right, format. I almost want to say that on this one... Oh, I didn't put the commons. Life cosmetics, life cosmetics. I guess maybe, I probably didn't want those moving around, but these are going to be like the common everywhere things, and then those go there. Didn't mess up our commas. And stuff will move around. Okay, natural objects, show only current monuments. That can be... We don't really have a monuments tab right now. It's just an extra thing. I've been tempted to put it in here somewhere as like a layer option. Then all the object stuff will be here. All right, so you've been customized, you've been customized. This is actually going to get into real code. Because I need a new search box and a new search message. I need to actually do a search for object IDs. I need to, display which objects your search got. And maybe do something fancy. I guess I could do a real-time filtering into here to get similar to what OneTech has. And I'm going to have to rename that. Getting close, but I don't know if I want to push through it today, given what setting up a nice search is going to be like. So you do have multiple pieces of UI to define. We've got to implement our actual search method. We've got to throw that over the wall for filtering. So it's not bad. It could go well, but it could also not go well. Okay, so we do have a different layer type. We decided to post filter afterwards. Splitting object sidebar. Need to define a new object. Search panel. Actually, we're splitting. Icon selection. Or pick icons. Maybe think about currently active sidebar button feedback, similar to what we have with the animation. All right. It's lunchtime. Thanks for watching. What do we got going on? That's when I am usually on. I'm starting to move. Yeah, Fridays are still rolling off the schedule. I'm going to try and do different stuff there. Let's see. That's some low-level stuff. That might be. Let's see. That one's not interaction. Let's see. Embados is working on a Twitch integrated spooky ghosts. Maybe a little bit of leftover Halloween project. If you're looking for someplace cool to hang out, thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye and until next time.